Hey, everybody. Welcome back again to Austin Sports Weekend. Thanks again to SevereTV.com for this gorgeous, beautiful studio that we're broadcasting
Week
from
two
here
is
today.
already passed.
We are talking some college football, and week two is gone. I'm already sad. I'm already getting withdrawal, and it's already week two. I love college football so much. I wish it was year round, but it can't be.
Well, it's all the college football fair this week. We've had some boneheaded officiating. We've had some bonehead offensive plays, boneheaded defensive plays, and all sorts of mascot mayhem.
I think teams are still trying to find out who they are, and still trying to figure out who they're going to be this year. But first of all we do need to recap week two. We'll talk about the top 15 teams. And then we'll jump into week three, and we'll pick some games there. There was a few good games this weekend. We always start out with Tennessee because Tennessee is our favorite team.
Man, this was frustrating.
Yeah, this was as a Tennessee fan, this was a little frustrating.
The quality on the field was substandard, and I think the players realized that it was a substandard product.
Yeah, their offense it struggled. It struggled a little bit.
Drops ahoy.
There was a bunch of drop passes. There were some inaccurate passes. There was a little bit of everything. The offense just hasn't clicked yet. Normally by the middle of week two game, you want your offense to be clicking a little bit.
It kind of felt like it took, I'm going to say it honest, took a step backwards from Virginia a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was Austin Peay and we should have beat them by 60 points and maybe we didn't focus as much as we should have, or maybe I still know that Heupel called a pretty vanilla game. He didn't want to show a whole lot in this game.
I mean, why not? You want to show something, I think.
I don't know. I said, but what we did show, we struggled a little bit with it. And
maybe
again,
that vanilla play call style he should not have in future games. That's my recommendation.
Some of it was drop passes. Some of it was throwing off. Our throws were off a little bit. But we did pull it together.
Defensively, we still have some standouts.
Defensively,
I'm sorry, Tim Banks.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we're forever, ever doubting you any point at any time in my life. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Our defense has 11 sacks this year in 2 games. What? 11 sacks.
That's a lot of sacks.
That's actually tied for number 1 in the country.
Give me some potato sacks.
They are everywhere, on top of everybody.
The only thing I would want them to do more is turn the ball over a little bit more, force some more turnovers. That's about it.
I think that will come. But if the quarterback ain't got time to throw the ball, you're not going to get very many picks. You might get some more fumbles because they're killing the quarterbacks. And we have to give it to Austin Peay too. They came into this game with their hair on fire.
Underdog mentality.
They had their hair on fire. I think their head coach was.
From that first drive, they tried a 4th and 2 from their own 30.
I think he got an adrenaline shot before the game because
he was jumping everywhere like he was just a Mexican jumping bean or something.
Austin Peay came in on fire. Tennessee was maybe off a click or out of focus or something. They still won by 17. You can't say anything too bad about it.
But this is probably not a game that many of the players want to really look back and revisit.
Honestly, I had them like 62-13 or 62-17. I thought by halftime that Nico would be in because we would be so far ahead. The good thing about it, this is showing the maturity of the team. They didn't call a players-only meeting on Sunday, and they talked with each other. And Milton took full responsibility for everything not going the way that it should. And then the whole team took full responsibility that they should focus a little more, play a little better. So I honestly expect Tennessee to come out this week and look like a different team. But they did win. They're 2-0. They dropped 2 spots in the polls from number 9 to 11.
Maybe that'll help refocus because maybe they were getting a little ahead.
Maybe they were a little ahead. Last year they had 11 wins and looked so good. Maybe sometimes taking a loss is good to focus a team, but sometimes not winning as good as you should maybe will help focus a team. We really, really hope that because Tennessee's definitely our home team, and we love all of our players there. The rest of the top 15, we had Ball State, Georgia again.
fitting to go to one of our teams to one of our rivals.
Georgia looked again. They came out struggling a little bit. They ended up winning 45-3.
But Ball State was ran out of the building in the second half.
Yeah.
The talent gap,
The talent gap finally wore out. Ball State ran out of players.
Usually
to
that
put
happens.
in the field.
Usually that happens when you have a smaller school try to tackle on a big time heavyweight.
Georgia's third string is probably better athletes than Ball State starting. That's not saying anything bad against Ball State. That's just how good Georgia is.
In terms of like the talent base.
The talent base. They just ran Ball State. Ball State played with them the first because they had the legs they had. But the second half, they ran out of legs and they ran out of points. We had Youngstown State and Ohio State. Ohio State drove the struggle bus too.
35-7 against Youngstown State.
Yeah.
But
again,
Marvin Harrison Jr. got going. That's the main positive that you could take from a struggle game like this.
Tennessee only scored 30 against
Austin
Peay, and Ohio State only scored 35 against Youngstown State. So their team's driving the struggle bus a little bit too. But hey, you win.
That
and
matters.
You go on to the next game. So that's what you got to do. We had Delaware, Penn State. Penn State's looking good. We thought they would the first half of this.
What's going to happen when you mention Penn State around me?
Yeah,
Big game James. For those of you that don't know about that, it's a long running gag that I love to do.
Yeah. It seems like towards the end of the year, Penn State finds out a way to lose the big games.
And then Big Game James becomes like a huge circle. It comes full circle.
Yeah.
You're starting right around here when Penn State is feeling, oh, man, we can get this done. Halfway through the year, oh, man, we're really rolling. And then what the crap?
And then at the end of the year, you're in the Rose Bowl because the other two teams are in the playoffs. We had Notre Dame at NC State. This was a really close game until about halftime. A lot of teams struggled through the first half.
There was also a monsoon over there.
Yeah. The game was delayed quite a bit, and the new a $12 million video board got hit by lightning and blew it up. How about that? Sure. We had Utah Baylor, and this game was closer than I thought too.
Utah still has their backup quarterback in there.
Baylor's backup quarterback was in too, wasn't he? So this was a backup quarterback game, and Utah won it.
They escape with the win.
We had Troy at Kansas State.
The Trojan horse fell down and has fallen to pieces.
K-State looks pretty good. I mean, they're playing Troy, but they scored 42 points. So they look pretty good. We had UNLV Michigan 35-7. Again, there's nobody really in the Big Ten flexing offensive wise, except for maybe Penn State. Penn State's offense scoring a little bit. Michigan and Ohio State's offense is struggling a little bit. Michigan scored 35. Ohio State scored 35.
Michigan kind of has an excuse because they don't have their head honcho.
And they are a running team. So they are a run first team. We had Tulsa at Washington. Washington scored 43-10 on that one. Washington's still looking pretty good.
Kalen DeBoer, ever since he got to Washington, he's averaged over 40 points per game. Also, prior to his time at Fresno State, I've tried to research it a little bit.
That's good. So their offense is clicking then. We're just anxious to see how they match up against another top 10, top 15 team.
If you mean USC, that no problem. They're going to score a lot of points.
Yeah. That may be a 63-60 game right now. We had our game of the week, Texas at Alabama. Alabama, they took a step back, haven't they?
Underperformed. Let's just say that.
Again, it was really, really close up to halftime, and then Alabama scored, 7 points in the second half?
I like to put this out there. This is what happened all night.
Yeah.
Texas's quarterback Quinn Ewers had a very good day, 350 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, it was 13-6 at halftime. Sorry, I was thinking backwards here. And
34-24, a 10-point victory for the Longhorns.
Yep. And honestly, I wasn't thinking Texas was back because every year we hear that Texas
is back.
And this year they look like they're back.
They look like Sarkisian. People, the Shark, as I call him, he was a great play caller at Alabama.
Yeah. How many times has Saban lost at home against a former coach? One. That's
and
it.
that was Old Sark.
And that was Sark. That's the first time that Saban has lost at home to a.
So, are the Horns really going to continue this path of positive momentum?
Or is Alabama on its way down?
Who knows?
Well, you know, I will definitely give props to Texas though, because they really played a good game.
Texas
And,
really did look
yeah,
sharp.
They did look sharp in that game. So
The SEC, however, did not look
the,
very
the
sharp.
SEC has had a tough year so far. I'm actually looking forward to Texas Oklahoma now, because both teams looks like they're up this year. So that again is going to be maybe a really good.
Oh,
really,
Red
really,
River.
really good, yeah. We had Oregon at Texas Tech. Texas Tech gave them a little struggle, but Oregon still pulled it out at the end, 38-30. Oregon struggled a little bit after scoring 81 in week one. They struggled a little bit starting out.
The defense gave them the key touchdown, though.
Yeah. Texas Tech about poured it out though. LSU in the get better game.
That was definitely get better, more than that 72 to 10.
72-10. LSU scored.
Does Grambling State have a defense?
I don't know what's LSU's quarterback. Tell me.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. Only the second time a LSU quarterback has thrown 5 touchdowns and a half. The first one, Joe Burrow, and the second one,
Of course.
now of course you know Joe Burrow's got most of your bacon ready, but Daniels threw for 5 in one half. It was against Grambling, but man, if you needed a get better game, that's some get better. 72 points is some getting better.
Was the Florida State loss an aberration, or was it just...
We don't know. Teams can lose early and then finish strong, so we'll just have to see how it goes there. We had Southern Miss at Florida State. Florida State, again, maybe the best team in the country right now.
In
other
terms of
than
performance?
Georgia and Florida State,
I haven't
maybe?
seen Florida State play this consistent since Jimbo was there
No.
all those years ago.
Right now, I'm thinking Georgia and Florida State are the best 2 teams.
In terms of performance.
And Georgia's struggling a little bit on offense. I don't know. I might lean towards Florida State being the better team right now. As far as strength goes, might be Florida State might be number 1 right now. And then last but not least, we had our West Coast Stanford at USC. We knew Stanford was bad, and USC proved it, 56-10.
That offense keeps on humming.
Yeah, USC definitely has the offense.
But Lincoln Riley, there's a problem that he's always had.
Whenever he plays a good offensive team, he's going to give up some points. So we'll just have to see how it goes whenever they get up against another top 15 team. But that is our recap of week 2. Let's go ahead and jump into week 3 here. We'll go ahead and jump into our Tennessee Vols. They are at Florida. This is
Traditional
Florida
rival.
Traditional rival. The line started out at 8.5. It's actually down to 6.5. So there's a lot of people out there think that Florida is going to cover the spread. I am not one of those people. I think, again, Tennessee having that players-only meeting, again, to me just showed leadership. It showed accountability. It showed we know we need to get better. We want to get better. So I think that Tennessee,
Just remember the golden rule. If any of the players are watching the video,
please catch the ball.
use your eyes.
Watch it into your hands
And then snag
and
it.
then catch the ball, yeah.
Before you turn your head, just focus on the cardinal rule.
Tennessee's favored by 6.5. I honestly think it's a double-digit game. I think it's more of a 34-20 type game, maybe 12 points, maybe 14 points. But I'm definitely taking Tennessee minus 6.5 there. We got Florida State, Boston College. Florida State's rolling.
They are rolling, and they're going to roll through Boston College because they lost to Northern Illinois in week 1.
Florida State beat LSU by 21 and beat Southern Miss by 53. So I definitely think that they're going to
They
beat
might be
Boston
the magical
College.
team of the year so far.
So far they are. Barring some injuries or some mishaps or something, Florida State's favored by 26.
Florida State's back
gotta,
on the national scene.
I got to pick them by 26 if they're going to,
If they're going to annihilate.
if you're going to score 45 points and 66 points your first 2 games.
Imagine if Florida State possibly comes to the SEC at one point with this team.
I would love to have Florida State in the SEC. Would that not give us some fantastic games?
Yeah.
You've already got Florida State, Florida every year, but imagine Florida State, Georgia every year.
And Florida State, Tennessee.
Florida State, Tennessee, Florida State,
Texas.
Alabama, Texas. Oh, man, come on now. We got Penn State taking on the Illinois Fighting Illini.
I don't think there's much fight in Illinois as much as they used to be. So,
Yeah, they're
big game James is going to pull out the dub
yeah,
today.
they're definitely having a down here. Kansas, yes, I said Kansas beat them by 11. If Kansas can beat them by 11,
Then
I
Penn
think,
State will beat the doors off of them.
yeah, the line's 14.5. I'm going to take Penn State there. We got LSU at Mississippi State. This is a really interesting game.
Mississippi State is also undefeated, so do not overlook the Bulldogs.
Now, Mississippi State's coming off of an overtime win.
With the cowbells ringing through your
Cowbell-
eardrums.
I still don't understand how you can have 80,000 people ringing cowbells and it's okay.
I can't also understand why you'd have a big stadium like South Carolina and have a chicken crow every other minute.
Hey, that's just the way it is. But Mississippi State beat Arizona in overtime. So I don't know. LSU is favored by 9.5. I probably still got to take LSU.
I think they got the talent.
I'm gonna
Brian
give,
Kelly
I'm gonna
better
give Brian,
not.
I don't know. I'm gonna give Brian Kelly one more chance.
You better not throw the strike. You better not swing on strike 3.
If they go 1-2 and lose to Mississippi State,
They're gonna make me look stupid for my preseason predictions.
yeah, because I really thought I don't know. Yeah, we'll take LSU minus 9.5, but who knows for sure. We got K-State, Kansas State at Missouri. This is an interesting game to me. Kansas State's favored by 5. I'm going to pick the upset.
Oh, really? You're gonna pick that upset?
I'm going to pick the upset. I think Missouri. I think Missouri's a little underrated this year. They beat. They've only beat South Dakota and Middle Tennessee State, but still, they've looked pretty good. Their offenses looked okay. So I mean, it's just a weird feeling. K-State hasn't really looked bad. K-State's 2-0. You know, K-State beat Troy and Southeast Missouri, so they haven't beat any powerhouses either. So I don't know. I'm going to take Missouri plus 5 there. Going the crazy one. We got Weber State against Utah. It's so bad there's not a line on it.
I feel like Utah's going to handle this one easily because the last 2 teams were Power 5 teams, and they're more than happy to have a break like this.
This is the get better game for Utah. Yeah, this may be a 52-10 game. So, yeah, we definitely got some Utah now. We got Central Michigan at Notre Dame. Notre Dame's had a couple tougher games, too.
But they put up 40 points in each of their first 3 games.
So they're favored by 35, basically, 34.5 over Central Michigan. This may be 48-10. Yeah, you have to take Notre Dame in that.
They're prepping up for Ohio State in 2 weeks.
Oh, should that not be a good game? Ohio State's offense is struggling. Their defense is good, though.
This is Notre Dame's opportunity.
This is Notre Dame's opportunity to prove it, yeah. We got South Carolina at Georgia.
Rival teams that won't play each other as consistently because of the whole realignment.
Yeah, next
thing.
year is realignment. The SEC turns into a single conference instead of East to the West next year. That's another conversation. But South Carolina.
If you want to open up that can of worms, then I don't think we have time.
No, the East Coast going to the West. I don't know. Let's just not go. Yeah, we got South Carolina at Georgia. The line's 27.5. I think Georgia's going to win, but man, that line, to me, I don't know. It seems
The jury has reached a verdict. I approve of that line. I think the Georgia's going to win by 30.
See, this is where we're a little split there. I'm like, man, South Carolina losing by 28. I mean, I know they
Come
lost.
on now, you want to see Do you want to see South Carolina lose that bad?
It would be funny, but I don't know. That's a big. I am iffy though on that one. I will let you go with Georgia on that one because I'm a little afraid of it. We got Alabama at South Florida. This is Alabama's get better game. They're favored by 32.
This is Alabama, and so they're going to rebound.
I definitely think they're going to rebound. South Florida lost to Western Kentucky.
And how about our old friend Alex Golesh over there at South Florida?
Yep.
It's going to take him some time.
It's going to take him some time.
But what a way to start off week 3 by going against a team that you coordinated and beat a year ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That might even, Saban might even try a little harder against him since he's the new head coach of it. The line's 32. Honestly, I probably got to take Alabama. They need a get well game. They need a 52-10 game, don't they? So we'll let them have their 52-10 game this week. We've got Western Kentucky. Still one of my favorite teams. I'm a Western Kentucky fan.
I like that big red mascot.
like Big Red.
Looks like a giant. I don't want to be rude, but looks like a trash bin that you just like.
Yeah.
Like a little Sesame Street.
A buddy of my son is a offensive lineman for that team too. So I've got a little soft spot for Western Kentucky.
They got the Buckeyes.
But it's Ohio State, and they probably will over talent them. The line's 28. Again, I don't know if Ohio State wins by 28. Their offense, I mean, they won by 28.
Taking a step back from the previous
years. They won by 28
years.
last week.
They've taken a step back from the previous years offensively.
Yeah. Ohio State won by 28 last week, but they were playing Youngstown State. They should have won by 48, and not 28. So, I'm honestly, maybe it's my soft spot for Western Kentucky, but I'm going to take plus 28. I don't know if Ohio State can win by 28 right now. I really don't know. I still think Ohio State wins pretty handily just because they have, they're 3 deep on 4 and 5 star people. But I don't know. I sort of like that 28 points. We got Washington at Michigan State. I would have probably called this one a little bit different, but now there's some turmoil. There's some more turmoil in Michigan State. Some more allegations floating around, and you can read up on the allegations. Some people think they're a bunch of crap. Some people think that maybe they're. I don't know. I'm not going to get into the allegations. All I'm saying is
Washington is going to win.
Washington's going to win because there's turmoil in the coaching department. Washington's favored by 16. I probably would take that. We got Bowling Green at Michigan. Michigan continuing that grueling schedule they have, sort of similar to Georgia's grueling schedule. They're favored by 40.5. This is our biggest line of the week over Bowling Green, and Bowling Green is not doing great this year. Bowling Green lost to Liberty.
I think Michigan takes care of that.
They probably do. But again, Michigan's not scoring a ton of points. 40.5 points is a lot of points for, but this is probably this will be the one time that Michigan scores a lot because Bowling Green's pretty bad. I will probably take that. But again, Michigan doesn't score a lot of points either. We actually picked the other team again. We picked Youngstown State plus 2 points last week against Georgia against them, didn't we? And we got that one because it was only 28 points, and I think it was 35 or 38.
Yeah, 35.
Yeah. So again, this is 40, and I don't know Michigan's going to score 40 points. But Bowling Green's bad enough. We might take that one. We got Wyoming at Texas.
Texas coming off that big high. I think they're going to jump over Wyoming here.
Yeah, this is a 28.5 point game.
That Stampede's been waiting to run out of that gate since 2009.
I think Texas is for real. They've jumped up to number 4 this week. I really think this might be Texas's year. I mean, they really do look good. Ewers, the quarterback,
played very well against Alabama.
People will, that was what was going to tell the team this year. Was he going to come into his own?
And he did.
Was he going to take the step? And it really looks like he has took that step. So, yeah, we'll take Texas. It's minus 28.5, but I still think that might be a 52-10 game. We got Hawaii at Oregon.
I got to like me some of those Rainbow Warriors.
Hawaii's really bad this year,
Yeah,
though.
Hawaii's really bad.
Vanderbilt beat them by 7.
So let's put
Stanford
Oregon.
beat them by 13.
So Oregon will beat them by 48.
Yeah, so Oregon's favored by 38, so, yeah, I think Oregon takes that one. And that's it. Well, so we didn't really have any huge top 10, top 50. We actually didn't have any ranked matchups this week, but we've got some intriguing games. Some games that might go one way, might go the other. We got some underdogs going into week 4. Again, week 3, you really should know who your team is by the end of week 3. So if you're struggling to score, you're probably going to struggle a little bit the rest of the year. If your defense is fantastic, your defense is probably going to be fantastic. The only thing that changes teams really after week 3 is injuries. So that's it. That is it for our recap of week 2 and our predictions for week 3. We hope you had a little fun with us again. Thanks again to SevereTV.com for this beautiful studio and setting us up here. Thanks again to Autographs Plus for sponsoring us. They have 2 locations again, one in Pigeon Forge, one in Sevierville. Their website's www.apsevere.com. I think, again, they've got Wivik coming to their store this Thursday. Actually, tomorrow, I think. Wivik's coming to the door to give out some of the Tennessee towels.
Gonna be the Pittsburgh Volunteers.
They've got the Tennessee Turbo Towels coming out. Anyway, stop by there and grab some of those. But thanks again for coming by, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
See you next week.